Hello, the GreedFall. It's a dying word. Well, it sets really high ambitions for a title of this caliber and succeed in fulfilling most of them in practice. Spiders has captured the essence of the RPG genre, combining a more than a decent narrative, a living evolving world alongside the player, and a rich gameplay. A major title for the AAA scene with its strengths and weaknesses. GreedFall: The Dying Work marks as a turning point for the Spiders and franchise rather than offering a title that simply continued to a story of the first game. The French studio opted to go back in time, positioning The Dying World as a prequel while radically changing its perspective and direction. While embracing the AAA status less spectacular than the last genre heavyweights, GreedFall: The Dying World offers a rich, generous, and surprising journey. So, the title takes us back by surprise on several points. It announces the GreedFall 2, the Spiders drop the numbering, simply renaming it GreedFall: The Dying World. While sequels seem inevitable, it is actually a prequel, with thus becoming an entry point for these complex universes. The Melchior is not yet that evil will definitely shatter the world balance, which is primarily plagued by the war, conflict, and the power struggles. The first real different lines in the perspective we take on this world in GreedFall, we played a diplomat from the mainland, tasked with the reasoning order and maintaining a fragile balance between the various factions and the group inhabiting the islands, as well as the native inhabitants. In the Dying World, Spiders introduce a radical shift by causing as a primitive training to become on his tribe elders, deeply connected to the nature. Just when the tensions are already running high between the locals and the colonists, an unexpected event occurs, resulting in bloodshed of the loved ones, and our avatar is kidnapped and sent to the mainland to become a slave. The dawn of the narrative is thus fundamentally different. While in the first GreedFall, the mainlanders have already experienced the significant expansion into the Tree Freed, the Dying World places us into a very early stage of the forced coexistence. For the locals, this arrival of the invaders translates into the violence, the exploration of their resources, the trampling on their traditions, and their rights already severely curtailed by the force. What's the commendable is the Dying World doesn't attempt to sugarcoat this object. These are sometimes difficult to watch. We are on the side of the subject by the force, those being crushed with some mainlanders displaying the genuine, unfinished, and undiscussed and unapologetic contempt for their cruelty and their sense of the superiority, believing that they are entitled to everything. And it goes even further, for some owning a native in a sign of distinction, a fashion statement. This clash of the cultures, this conflict between the natives and the colonists, form the heart of the story, and while the first of the GreedFall could be sometimes harsh in the situation it presented, the Dying War is a little bit better. So our avatar, torn from the homeland throughout he was doomed by a resistance movement on the continent that helps him to escape. They unite to try to overthrow the existing power structures as the best they can, and the free captives designed for a grim fate. But nothing goes as planned, and the journey promises to be complex. Yesterday's allies are tomorrow's enemies, and those perceived as future adversaries turn out to be helping hand and that pulls off of the tight spot. The overall writing is compelling and consistent with the Spiders has consistently delivered. The central plot maintains our interest throughout the journey, thanks to a good pace and above all, the various opposing viewpoints that surround us and which we must contend, particularly for those companions and their affiliations with different factions. These communities play a vital role in the fragile balance of the Dying World. Each defends its own interest and their behavior towards the avatar evolves based on the actions in the field. The responses we give during the dialogues are the certain behaviors such as the murder of the member of their community, while some results are felt very quickly, other effects only become visible in the medium to long term. This system reinforces the feeling of evolving in a living, persistent world, shaped by everyone's actions. The relationship between the various companies as encoder, some of whom accompany us for a while, follows the same pattern and is governmented by the similar rules. Each has their own story, their own ideologies, throughout and objectives. Answering their call not only reveals their lore but also allows us to forge bands. On several occasions, our avatar is confronted with the situation where, depending on their actions, the fate and their companions also fluctuates. And the impact is some intermediate, such as granting of the passive bonuses offer a slight but always useful stat increases for the example. All of these mechanics make each run unique, with the world evolving according to our actions, enhancing our relationships with the loved ones, companions, and every group and faction that governs it. Naturally, the consequences are more or less visible, ranging from the areas where we become persona non grata, which combinates initiated on the sign, to complete the opposite places where are welcomed as one of their own. GreedFall, the Dying World, fully embraces its RPG elements in these aspects, with the numerous branching paths leading to the story conclusion several dozens hours later. What's great is even the single missions, there are multiple ways to approach it. And at the start of our journey, for example, the main quest involves investigating a nearby mine that's wreaking havoc on the surrounding flora and fauna. The catch is located deep within an area controlled by local militia that doesn't want you to see, so there is the option of infiltration, sneaking into the camp undetected. This requires stealing a key for the locked door, but triggers reprisals if you get caught. Or you can simply use the information gathered earlier about the need for the labor to work the mine and get the hire. Later, when it becomes necessary to shut down the operation, several solutions are available. Pressure and the workers who help in the other missions to stop work. Try to talk to the camp foreman, or simply eliminate anyone. And naturally, if you've been stealing beforehand, it is impossible to talk the mine manager, and if you want help the workers, there's no way to reason to do some business with them or some, interact with them. And the reputations fluctuate different depending on what you decided to do. The formula brings the general interest to the side content, which is always connected to the main storyline in the way or another. There is a starting point, a destination, and the multiple branches and side path in every direction, but everything ultimately remains more or less close to the central narrative. In the end, every step taken in the GreedFall, the Dying World, opens a new world and closes others quite simply. Spider giving us a freedom that sets us an objective. It is us to manage the situation as we see fit: diplomacy, negotiation, bargaining, force, covert operations, and etc. The result is significant replayability. The exploration system also contributes to this feeling of participating in a true adventure with multiple vast, open, and generous areas interconnected by brief loading times. The map unfolds as we progress, revealing the new points of interest, offering varied environments and teeming with the elements to observe and analyze, situations to discover, and collectibles and components to gather. Progressions aren't simple, a matter of following, a matter of going there. Regularly, we must follow traits on the ground, track on a target, or gather clues to find the right information to reach our destination. And sometimes, the game forces us to cross enemy territory when our presence is forbidden. Adopting a stealthy approach, reducing our detection by the guard's fields of vision, as well as the noise generated by our footsteps, is essential, and sometimes it's even better to flee than to fight. But often taking the arms is the only option. So we have the different modes, and the combat is the other major evolution offered by the GreedFall. So there was the first adopted is more action-oriented approach. Spiders lean more towards the tactics and strategy, and the game modes are available. The immersion focuses on your character, and in somewhat reminiscence of the first game approach with autonomous teammates. Tactical is recommended approach in the spider time, with a precise control of each fighter, meticulous management of the resources, cooldowns, and the target, while hybrid attempts to combine both approaches. The system is based on the action point mechanic, which points replenished by bit with each automatic attack. Each ability and talent has an AP cost in addition to its own cooldown. There are offensive, defensive, support, and healing skills, as well as the various buffs. Some require a target, or some have specific area or effect. Defense is not neglected, with the resistance to consider, absorbing physical damage in the case of armor, or magic damage with reflection. And of course, these protective layers must be broken before attacking the target is HP. In a tactical mode, the players must judge real-time gameplay to fully control an avatar and active pause feature to plan each character abilities, with the concepts of AP to accumulate cooldowns and everything surrounding in the interplay, strengths or weakens, buffs and debuffs, as well as affiliations. The game reaches an unexpected deep. Players alternate between the direction action and analyze with the pause feature to plan and optimize the AP expenditure and cooldown management. Even against typical grounds of enemies, it is possible to find yourself in trouble after rushing into it too quickly. So, in general, hours fly by and the feeling generated by the GreedFall becomes clear. Yes, it is completely different league than its gen heavyweight, but its possession is a true identity, a soul, and doesn't hesitate to lavish attention on providing a solid journey. What it does well. Within it means that the results is compelling. The dying word isn't without its flaws, but it embraces and weaknesses and plays to its strength to drown us, hook us, and provide enjoyment until the very end. Spiders choose to stay in the same world but changes its version, offering us a bit different perspective, a different approach, and a different wording rather than well. An imperfect RPG certainly, but one of them imbued with genuine soul, which is very, very rare nowadays. So what do I mean? It feels natural. So you guys go and check it. Bye.